I would like to welcome here Mr. William Reed, who is a current president of LIGS University. Bill, welcome here.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's nice to be here.
In these interviews, you should learn, first of all, what's Bill's view of the world of education and what's his vision for LIGS University. And that would be our main topic here. In 2022, you have moved into the role of CEO of LIGS University. How would you describe your role?
My role is to bring my previous experience, parts of it that matter here, and align it to where we're going to be in the future. LIGS University has been around for quite a while. Many fine qualities exist at LIGS University. As we move ahead into the future, we have to take that information and prepare it for what the students will be needing in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. The challenge is we may not know what those needs are. So we need to have our programs designed and create our goal to be able to address those issues in a way that will help the students answer the questions that we don't know yet. It's a big challenge. It's a challenge that can be done, but it does require talented people. It requires resources to prepare those programs and prepare those courses, and to find the area where we can do that the best. We're not, nor will we ever be, a solution to everything. We don't have the capacity. I don't think any institution does. But we can become expert in certain areas. And that's what I feel we'll be doing over the next few years, going into these areas of management where we can help people manage, for example, in the digital world, in the virtual world, which is much different than managing a local in-house building type location. So basically, my job is to organize that mission and that task, identify the resources we need to do that, identify the people we need to do that, and to create the culture in our university that supports that goal.
Why did you personally take on this challenge?
I'm one who likes challenges. I consider myself one who's been doing similar work all along. The areas of education are constantly evolving. In my academic history, we've designed courses that met requirements. Some of them have been very successful in doctoral education and particularly in master's level education, where the courses are meaningful to our students, and it helps the students achieve a goal that they're after.
Right. You mentioned it before about the new programs, about new offerings for students. Will there any new programs be made?
Yes, there will. We have, in the past months, identified that we would like to be able to offer a program that focuses on the future of what management will need. Digital information, digital management, working in diverse cultural environments, working in virtual worlds where your project team may consist of members from China, from the United States, from Central Europe, and maybe Africa, and understanding the differences in managing that team versus managing a team that's sitting around the table face-to-face. That will also include the areas of data analytics, artificial intelligence. These are all underway in many universities, not just ours. But we want to be one of those universities that are at the forefront of that sort of initiative.
What does it mean to create a program?
To create a program is taking a concept and taking it from a dream to a plan. We are constantly talking to people in the business world and watching what's going on and watching how companies that were successful 10 years ago are faltering today. Observing trends. Just as any good leader in any organization is always looking for patterns, trends, changes, we are doing the same in this industry. And it is really a full-time job to do that. There are institutions that have people do this in research, institutional research areas, to find out what that need is going to be. We are getting deep very involved in that effort to make sure that what our mission is going to be will match the needs of those who want to achieve something in that area. Our area being business management in the bigger word. But when we get down to it, we will be into digital issues, data-driven issues, data decision-making, huge issue. Not new either. It's been around. But as it unfolds, it changes. And you have to be aware and be mindful of those changes and incorporate that into your program so that learners are aware of it.
It's also about people. Do you focus more, or will you be focused more on teachers, lecturers?
Absolutely. The teacher, the professor,
Yeah.
he or she is the face of our university. The students will talk to them the most. They will interact with them the most. And they will learn from them the most. Not just the content that we prepare from the institutional side, but from the experience of the professors that do that work. We are very mindful of bringing in professors that have this diverse knowledge, particularly in the international field. We have professors from all over the world, Malaysia, Japan, United States, Canada, Africa, Europe, various parts of Europe. And it is an ongoing task of ours to identify these people that can bring current, meaningful information to our programs. That they can take a textbook or a article that we use in our courses and make real world sense out of that article. Those are the type of faculty that we are seeking and we will seek. We may have enough faculty at any given moment, but we're never not looking for that new good one to come along.
Mm. And what is a good fit for you? Because I see it as a sports, there's an analogy. I'm looking for a best player.
It's true. We are.
What do you see in them?
We look, just two things, and this may be a little different than some other people may answer, but one, I want someone who has the energy to do it, and I want someone who really likes to teach, likes to share, likes to sit there and say, well, here's how I made a mistake on this, and here's how you can avoid it. That sort of professor, that sort of person. And they, in my opinion, make excellent people to guide students through the material of the course, of the program, or whatever it may be. Mm.
In your experience, how do you scout for those people? What's behind it?
It's hard. The best way for us to do that is to have a fantastic program to offer. Right. That will attract the good professors. To show them that, hey, here's what we have, and here's what we're going to do. And if that excites that professor, that's a good thing. Or that professor will say, well, that's a good idea, but did you think of this? And we are fortunate enough where we can make changes quickly. We don't have 7 levels of bureaucracy in our development process. We're able to turn quickly, and it's that piece that is the main focus of how we can attract people is by the depth and quality of our program. Other ways are through word of mouth. One professor knows another professor. This is like any other business. Everybody knows everybody somewhere. And they'll say, I know, Mary could be a good fit for this. She's really good at data analytics in marketing or in some other area. And they would say, okay, well, let's talk to this person and see if they fit. Now, we may not have that ready today, but maybe that's something we have in our plans for 10 months from now. So it's a living movement. It's a live process to keep it current. It's like watching a garden grow. You got to go out every morning and water it. You got to look for the weeds. You got to look for what's growing right, and you got to fertilize what needs some help. Mm.
I would say location is a problem, or is it for those people? Let's say the person is from South Africa. Is it a problem?
Not as much as it used to be.
Right.
Technology has crept into the areas where might have been a little behind in technology development. We have learners in some very remote areas. And we have learners who live in metropolitan areas who, because of their job, have to travel to remote areas. And we are constantly getting messages. Hey, I'm going somewhere. The internet is poor right now, so I may not be able to log on today or tomorrow. Just so you know, as long as they tell us, we're in good shape. If they don't tell us, we wondering where they went. But so it is an issue. Generally speaking, every day there's more solutions out there to do that. And there's still some tough areas of the country. I mean, even in metropolitan cities, we have internet problems sometimes. So it's not a perfect world, but it's a good world, and it's solving some solutions. It's solving some problems.
Yeah. How about students? Do they see the benefits in them?
Many do, which is why you see this enormous growth in this particular sector of education. Now, you can read articles where saying, well, enrollments are down across the globe in education, and I read them. I guess it's true. I don't pay too much attention to that type of thing, because we're after the ones who want to improve themselves, and there are plenty of them, right. And we will be very successful with many of them. If they have the desire, they can find a solution to what they need. And the central focus from my perspective, anything we do at LIGS is focused on what's going to help the student, what's going to aid the student, and what can help our faculty deliver the best learning experience in that situation.
Do you somehow monitor what continents are they located? I mean, students.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah. We do. We keep a close eye on that. We are currently highly based in the Central European market,
right.
But we have a good number of students from various countries in Africa, and we have some from Malaysia, Canada, United States, Western Europe. They're spread out. They're quite spread out. But the primary ones are in the Central European area, and Africa would be another highly populated area for us.
Is there any area that you want to focus on more?
I wouldn't say an area. I would more define it as a type of student. Type of student who
right.
would be looking for something that we could help them solve. I'm not too particular where they're located. But if it's a person who's entering the business world, might already have a bachelor's degree or may not, someone who has a plan for themselves to want to reach certain goals by certain dates, by certain times, someone who's driven to learn, that to me is more important than what their address is. So I would answer that question saying by the type of person and the needs of that person is probably more of an issue than where they're located, because we can generally solve location problems through technology.
Can you elaborate more on the mindset of the student? I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. Ever since I've been in the academic world, I've enjoyed graduation ceremonies because I can sit there either as a faculty member or now as in a leadership position, and I can look at these students come across and remember the problems they faced at some point that might have been in my class or might have been something I've involved in, and they walk across. And graduation day is one of the happiest days in my business that I think. It seems everybody's smiling. Everybody's happy to be there. The family members come. Nobody's talking politics that day. Nobody's talking about the tragedy that's going on around the world. It's a little escape from the routine. And we have a good time. I have a good time, and I believe most people do. And to see each one that I remember that walk across the stage, you just say, well, I remember that story from that person and this story. And I've always enjoyed being at commencement, even when I was an adjunct faculty member or full-time faculty, or if I was the chair of something or even the dean or whatever. It's always a fun day for me because it is a day of celebration and a day that you worked for. And I don't know how you rank it, or I don't know how our students would rank it in terms of their lives, but I would think it's up there with wedding days and birth of your children and something like that. I rank it that high. Maybe others don't, but it is a celebratory day.
You mentioned it. It is about networking also at schools. You see other students, you see teachers, you interact with them. Can online education provide that too?
Sure. We do it regularly.
Those face-to-face meetings?
We have face-to-face meetings, sure. I visit our home office quite often. And we have meetings all the time with either Zoom meetings or some sort of technologically assisted meeting. And we do it with the students as well. We get to hear some of their stories and what they're facing, and it helps us to learn. We will be planning some sort of opportunity to meet face-to-face in our newer programs that's coming out, but that's optional. Travel these days has become tedious and has become challenging in some parts with visas and travel restrictions, and some parts of the world still have COVID restrictions in place. So we understand that, and the cost has been, of course, an issue. So we're going to try to find ways to bring students together, maybe with employers, maybe with fellow people in the same business, so they can somehow create networking opportunities for themselves. That's a huge part of it. I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you if I didn't benefit from my network. And I hope other people that I know can say the same with me, because I've worked together with many people in different capacities. And you may not talk to somebody for a number of years, but all of a sudden something comes up and you remember, oh, yes, John or Susan was good at that. Yeah, I have her number somewhere. Let's get in touch. It has been worthy of it. And really, many of our courses are built on that, too, so that students become familiar with the other students.
Mm. Would you like them to come back? I don't know, as an alumni program or something like that?
Oh, yeah. That is a richness we can't buy for any amount of money. They bring their experiences back to us. They bring their knowledge back to us. They said, hey, you did everything pretty well, but, you really should have done this better. We really like that information. It's, companies have marketing campaigns and market research. Nothing's better than a live voice who just went through your program, comes back and telling you, hey, this is really great. This could have been better. That's the feedback. We can't afford to buy that. That's just, you can't purchase that information. Right? Exactly. Exactly.
What would you say are the biggest challenges right now in terms of attracting new students?
The biggest challenge is the changes that we have faced in everything as a result of COVID. And I must also say we went through similar changes after 9/11 in the United States and the attack in New York City. Things changed as a result of those events. Much like people who grew up in the Industrial Revolution, things changed. It changed not just the way you do things, it's changed the mindset of people. So my thinking in today's world is, A, the affordability of the program is very important. Primarily important is the value of the program, what they're going to get out of it, what we offer them, and how they can use it in their particular situation to improve whatever reason they're here for, either career, personal satisfaction, helping out, or whatever the reasons the students come to do this are more than I had ever imagined. They can have all sorts of reasons and all means to accomplish it or don't have means to accomplish it. And it's those challenges that we'll be facing over the next years of maintaining the programs in an affordable manner, making them meaningful, and being able to match the cost of putting out a quality product to an affordable price that these students can afford to invest in themselves to do this.
In academic world, accreditations are important, I believe. Can you tell me why?
Accreditations come from the need of proving quality. I'm most familiar with the United States accreditations, but I'm also familiar with the other ones, such as the ones that LIGS University has, which is basically a London-based accreditation. Right. And it's a fine accreditation.
How important do you think it is to have actually like the degree? And then how is it with the mindset, that you want to learn, that you want to do things, that you nail it in an interview or something like that?
Yeah. To answer that question, I would have to ask the person what you want to do.
Yeah.
If you want to be a college professor, you need degrees, period. No doubt about it. Very, very few people would become a college professor without any sort of academic licensing. There was a gentleman many, many years ago, very famous expert in the field of management. His name was Peter Drucker. He wrote books. He wrote our current management styles. He wrote them back in the 40s and so on. Well, I had the opportunity to meet this gentleman once, and we're talking, and someone asked him a question. Peter, why don't you get a degree? And his answer was, who's going to test me? And you think about it, it sounds a little ego type of thing, but really, he never went to college, and he's writing the textbooks that we're teaching. So does everyone need a degree? No. Does it help in today's world? Yes. There's not much room in the world anymore for the Peter Druckers. They're there, but they're few and far between. Back then, Peter Drucker, he was 95 years old when I met him. And we sit and talking to him, and we asked him, what do you do? He says, well, when I got here, I went to the bar. And I sit there for a few hours and think. And then they asked me, what am I going to talk about at this session today? I said, I don't know. I'll come up with it by the time I get there. And he did. And he was talking about his wife and his children. Very smart man, very personal man. But then he was asked, well, you're 95 years old, Mr. Drucker. Why do you still do this? He says, there's no reason to stay home because my wife is 93 and she's out every day. So it's an example of a case where a degree is not needed. But in our world today, it's never going to hurt you, I don't think. And it can only help you. And in most cases, it's meaningful help.
Then again, it's not about a degree, but more about the information you get it.
It's more about the person, what they do with that information. People can get a master's degree. It's not hard. I did it. You can do the checkbox approach, check this assignment, check that assignment. But it's the person who sits down, checks the assignment, and then learns from it. That's the person who's going to take that information and run with it. And there are so many examples of dedicated people, dedicated students. It's unbelievable.
Mm. What would you like to see LIGS University over the next years?
Almost treating the employer as our primary person that we're paying attention to, because what they're going to need tomorrow, we want to provide to the students today so they're prepared for it. That's pretty much the map that we'll be working on. Doing such, it's not an exact science. We have meetings now. One day we're saying this, the next day we're saying something else. But that's the challenge of putting it together, and we will come out with it. Our programs, we're already decided. There used to be a standard in academics. You'd have to review your program every 2 years or 1 year, whatever your college decided to do. We're going to be much more frequent than that. We're going to be having an ongoing 3 to 4 month review of what's current. Our courses are being designed in a way that if something becomes outdated, we can pull that little section out and put in a new section instantly. Currency is really the important thing, that you're learning something current. Information that happened more than 5 years ago is going to be very, very much downplayed unless it's an outstanding theory, an outstanding principle. Much like in the medical world, they use about a 2-year history record. Where in management, we've said 5, but we're even cutting that down because things are changing so quickly, and our students are needing new information so quickly. We just can't go on those old timetables.
Is there anything in particular you want to point out?
I would just like to point out how, in speaking with some of our graduates, how happy they are, what they've done. They're so glad they went through the experience. Most of them come back saying, I learned things I didn't expect to learn, and things that I thought were important really fell by the wayside. The student experience is really such a high demand, high important part of this. It is both self-supporting to the learner from a personal perspective, and it helps their career and helps them out. And to hear them with their stories about, this helped me, it helped me get a new job, it helped me better understand this, and even helped me be a better person.
Well, thank you very much for your answers.
Thank you, and I appreciate being here.